Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the DUI Guy Plus Raw Law Unfiltered. As you can see behind me, the background has probably changed a little bit. We are undergoing a little bit of renovations, so please excuse the background clutter in the office. But what I want to talk about today is something that I tweeted yesterday, and I know people have been confused, what's going on. I made the video initially about Amber having to file, as we all knew, on November 2nd. And then, the deadline could potentially have been extended to November the 3rd if it was filed by 5 p.m., as we read the rules together in a previous live that you can see on my channel. But the question truly became, 5 o'clock yesterday came and went, and we had no answer. So I filed a request, received documents from the court that basically explained everything. Because I know Laura Bokov and we have been kind of communicating. The real Laura B. Shout out to you, Laura, for helping me out on all of this. We were not able to figure out what on earth is going on because Laura was given, as I understand, bad information. She even tweeted about it in one of my in the responses to one of my tweets, saying that the clerks said there was no extension of time request filed, which was really confusing. Thank you very much, Andrea Taylor. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel. But yeah, it was bizarre. It was bizarre because nobody knew what was going on. So I just wanted to make this quick video to address and explain what exactly happened. Okay. So this is what I tweeted about yesterday. So if you are unfamiliar with what's going on, feel free to check out the tweets after this video is over to enlighten the whole situation. This is what was filed on, hey, Mad Scientist, good to see you. This was what was filed on October 13th, right? Appellant, this is Amber's appeal. Don't forget, there are two parallel appeals running, right? You have Johnny's appeal and you have Amber's appeal. We're talking about Amber's appeal, okay? Amber Heard as the appellant, John Depp as the appellee. That's how you know that this is the style of the case. All you have to do is look at it. If Johnny Depp's name appears first, then it's his appeal. He would be the appellant and she would be the appellee, right? So, appellant's motion for extension of time to file opening brief and for leave to file brief exceeding page limit. So Amber's lawyers are asking the Court of Appeals, hey, I need more time to file my initial first brief and I need more space. They asked for a 28-day extension of the deadline, and they asked for a 60-page brief instead of a 50-page brief, right? So a 10-page extension. They just got to go through the motions here. We don't really need to go over that. They seek to leave to file an opening brief of 60 pages. There it is. And they're basically asking the court to grant them. Now, they note, very, very, very important, appellee opposes. Johnny Depp's lawyers, Ben Chu, Camille Vasquez, and all of them are saying, we do not agree. You do not get an extension. You should not get an extension, right? Well, appellant still makes the request. They contacted the opposing side. It's very common for one side to just kind of reach out and be like, hey, we're going to be asking for this. Do you care? And the other side can go, no, I don't care. Just go ahead, file it. And then they will say unopposed motion at the very top. This is not the case here. This is not the case here. It literally says appellee opposes both requests. Thank you very much, Lisa. How are you doing today? Very much appreciated. So that's what's happening here. This is an opposed motion. We're going to see that in just a moment. So there it is, signed by Jay Ward and all that. Here it is. Here it is. So the 4 days later, on October 17th, appellee's opposition to appellant's motion for extension of time to file opening brief and for leave to file brief exceeding page limit. This is our objection to your request for extension of time and page limit extension as well. Appellee John C. Depp comes through counsel and opposes Amber Heard's motion. And here's the argument: the court should deny an extension of the deadline because good cause does not exist. This is their argument. This is Johnny Depp's lawyer's argument. There is no good cause for delay. Appellant has stated no good cause for any delay in her opening brief, certainly not for an additional 28 days. I mean, that's a whole month that they're asking for. They've already had like over a month to be preparing it. And technically, if you really want to get technical, they knew on June 1st that at some point they're going to end up in this place. And even if you don't want to give her from June 1st, which is fine because she hired David Axelrod and Jay Ward, mid-July? Okay, give her from mid-July. It has literally been like 3.5, 4 months, and they're asking for an additional month. It just doesn't make any sense. And I understand Johnny Depp's lawyer's argument. I completely agree with it. She proffers that she has recently retained new counsel to represent her on appeal. Appellant's brief at or BR at page 1 to 2, which is above that we just saw, is inaccurate. In fact, 3 of her counsel in this appeal, Mr. Rottenborn, Ms. McCafferty, and Ms. Stemland, all of Woods Roger PLC, represented her at trial in this case below. So we know that these lawyers have been there for months and months and months. It's just these last 2 that were added. And that's not our problem, Your Honor, says Ben Chu and his team. And I agree. That's probably the same motion I would have filed. Moreover, appellants, or the same objection I would have filed. Moreover, appellant's new counsel at Ballard Spar, her 4th set of lead counsel. 4th set. 4. This is like her 4th time's the charm. What's up, Tanya? Oh, man. Her 4th set of lead counsel entered his appearance in this court on August 5th. Sorry, I said July. I couldn't remember. It's August. Big deal. 3.5 months instead of 4.5, right? More than 2 months ago, not constitute good cause for any continuance, nor does appellant cite any particulars to support her contention that the complexity of this matter or the volume of the record somehow constitute good cause. Simply making a conclusory assertion does not meet the standard. And that's basically the argument. You don't have enough. You shouldn't be given more time. You shouldn't be given leeway. We don't care. You don't deserve it. Let's just move on and keep going. Don't forget, this is all mid-October, right? So the brief is still due November 2nd at this point. We're going back in time. We're about 3 weeks ago as this is happening. You know, October 17th is when Ben Chu filed this with the court, right? So today we're on October 17th, just to be clear. Simply making a conclusory assertion does not meet the standard, much less justify a month-long extension in a case that has already been litigated for more than 3 years. Granting appellant Heard's extension would further delay the process and perforce complicate and extend the entire briefing and argument schedule, which, as we already know, has done so. Appellee Depp is not, for example, requesting any extension of the briefing schedule on the one aspect of the trial he lost and is appealing. Were the court to grant appellant's motion, the 2 appeals would be on different tracks, which, as we all know, currently are. To the extent the court is nevertheless inclined to grant appellant the requested extension of time, and appellee respectfully submits that it should not, appellee would request that the court also extend the time to file appellee's brief by 28 days. Now, this will be important later because Ben Chu did a follow-up. Ben Chu did a follow-up to this. The court should deny appellant's motion for the extension of the page limit. So we talked about time. Now Ben Chu is like, no. We also object to the page limit. You don't get more pages, Amber. As with her motion to extend the deadline of filing her opening brief, appellant Heard relies only, again, on a conclusory statement. It's complicated. There's a lot of volume. The lengthy trial somehow showed that she cannot adequately address all of her assignments of error in 50 pages. Her 16 assignments of error, that's not our problem. That's her problem. And I agree. Indeed, appellant makes no proffer whatsoever as to why her appeal presents particularly complex matters or how the volume of this record or the length of the trial would somehow constitute good cause for a departure from the court's standard rules of page limits. Come on. Amber, what are you doing, huh? What are you doing, Amber? This is not how we do things around here. You don't get to be special just because your name is Amber. Do you understand? Like, what are you doing? This is not how we do things around here, all right? Just sit down, have a cup of coffee, and relax a little bit, maybe have a good time, listen to some music, and then let's fucking go. November 2nd is your deadline. Come on, Amber. What are you doing, huh? What are you doing, huh? No, this is not how we do things around here. All right. Moreover, the court should decline to increase the page limit because doing so would perversely reward appellant for taking a frivolous scattershot approach to her assignments of error rather than seek to identify and focus on a few genuine issues. Ms. Heard filed a laundry list of 16 broad assignments of error, many of which are mutually contradictory. She contradicted herself in her own assignments of error list, as so says Ben Chu and his co-counsel. Indulging appellant with 10 more pages would not only unfairly prejudice appellee, who would have to respond to appellant's extraneous arguments, but would also encourage future appellants to take. So they're using the slippery slope argument. This is going to open the door for other people to be like, all right, let's just take a shotgun approach and then like see whatever we've got, right? Oh man. See what we've got, see what sticks. To the extent the court is nevertheless inclined to grant the same, we're going to be asking for 10 pages extra as well. Again, this will become important in a moment. So this was all on October 17th, okay? The certificate of service, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. The Court of Appeals of Virginia, they entered the order. This was on October 19th, I believe. 18th, excuse me. October 18th. So this is what I posted on Twitter yesterday. You all saw this. On October 13th, came appellant by counsel, filed a motion praying that the court grant her an extension of time to file an opening brief and permit her, to file an opening brief that exceeds the 50-page limit by 10 pages. Thereupon came appellee by counsel, filed a response in opposition. So this is what we just went through. Upon consideration whereof, an extension of time is granted, but you're not getting 28 days and getting no 10 pages. You're getting 21 days, which is still 3 weeks, to file. You get leave to file 55. So we're giving you 5 extra pages. They split the baby. They said, you want 4 weeks? Here you go. Here's 3. They could have given 2, but they gave 3. They said, you want 10 pages? Here's 5. Why? Because there was opposition. If Ben Chu had not opposed this motion, if this has gone unopposed, Amber would have gotten 10 extra pages, 4 extra weeks. So Ben made the right call. Okay. All right. What happens next is just nothing short of magnificent. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is the kind of shit lawyers live for. Remember when I told you in the motion, Ben Chu added this language right here. If you grant theirs, you know what? We're going to be asking for some as well in our responses. So it's a little different. But it's kind of the same. So Ben Chu, in the background, emails Ballard Spar and Rottenborn and all those and says, look, you guys, the court just granted your motion, right? Now we're on October 18th, October 19th. He says, all right, you got your extra time. You got your extra pages. Do you have any problem with us requesting the same now that the cat's out of the bag? And of course, it would kind of look stupid if they're like, no, you don't get a chance to do what we got. You get to stick to how you are with your timeline and your page limit as is. So naturally, Roddenborn and Ward and all of them, they're like, all right, fine. I Axelrod, like, we don't care. Take it. Go ahead. Take it. Okay? Just leave us alone. We're done here. So he files, Ben Chu and his team files appellees unopposed. There's that language. Remember I told you. Unopposed motion for extension of time. So that means there's no opposition. There's going to be no response from the other side going, wait, we don't agree. They agreed. It's not opposed. Unopposed motion for extension of time to file opening brief and for leave to file brief exceeding page limit. So basically what they got, we want. That's it. That's literally what it says. They got 3 extra weeks and 5 pages. We want that as well. Appellee, by through his undersigned counsel, respectfully files this motion requesting an extension of the deadline to file his opposition to appellant Amber Laura Heard's opening brief. So this is like, so they got to November 23rd now instead of November 2nd. Ben is like, okay, so ours is going to be due what? December 23rd, but we want 3 extra weeks for that too. It'll be like January 13th or something. I don't know. Something crazy, right? Which makes sense. They got it. No, we want it. On October 18th, this court entered the order granting appellant Heard a 3-week extension and 55 pages for the brief. So November 23rd, there's the new date. There's the new date that we all keep talking about. November 23rd, that's when Amber's brief in her appeal is going to be due. I can't wait to read that thing, you guys. Like, I literally can't wait. That's like right before Thanksgiving. It's going to be crazy. Appellee immediately inquired whether, consistent with the order, appellant Ms. Heard would agree to a motion. This is the emails that they probably send back and forth or phone calls to extend his deadline to file the opposition by 3 weeks and allow him to file an opposition of 55 pages. Appellant advised today, so October 19th, they will not be opposing the motion. They're like, dude, we got it. You can have it. Whatever. I don't fucking care. Let's keep going. The court should grant this unopposed motion because fairness militates toward allowing appellee the same length of extension of the deadline it granted the appellant. And Mr. Depp should be allowed the same number of pages. Fair is fair, right? Wherefore, appellee, oh, there it is, January 13th. My math was somehow right. Don't ask me how that happened. Wherefore, appellee respectfully requests that this honorable court grant him a 3-week extension of his deadline to file an opposition brief from December 23rd, as it stands today with the court's order from October 18th, the day before this was filed, until Friday, January 13th, and grant him leave to file opposition 55 pages. Thank you, signed Ben Chu and the rest of the team. And of course, we don't have a response to this because it's unopposed. They agreed. Now, here's what the court says. This was, I believe, the next day. So October 20th, there it is. October 20th at the Court of Appeals of Virginia, and I posted this on my Twitter as well. Dear Mr. Chu, this will acknowledge receipt of your motion for extension of time to file an appellee's brief and leave to exceed the page limit in the above referenced case. So we got what you asked for. However, pursuant to rule such and such, the appellee's brief is not due to be filed in the office of the clerk of this court until 30 days, which is December 23rd, after the filing of the opening brief. Like, we get it. We understand you want extra time, but they haven't even submitted theirs yet. We just gave them an extension. They get until November 23rd. Today is October 20th on the day that this is written, okay? There's like a month and 4 or 5 days, almost 5 weeks from the date of the receipt of Amber's brief. The appellant has not yet filed the opening brief in this case, thus there's no due date that has been established for the filing of the appellee's brief yet. We understand your math, but it's not concrete yet, Mr. Chu, is what the court is saying. Accordingly, the court will not take any action on your motion at this time, right? This is what they mean. Now, please note that once the appellant files her brief and the due date for the filing of the appellee's brief will be established, if at any time you determine that you need additional time and pages to respond, then you can file. So we're not like saying no. We're just saying no right now because we don't have dates. We don't have times. We don't have anything. Just give us a minute. Seriously, you guys are driving me nuts, says the Court of Appeals. You know, Chief Deputy Clerk Scanlon is like, you guys just take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Okay? And that's it. That's it. This is where we're at now. We are now waiting for essentially 2 dates, really, that are priority with respect to this appeal. Date number 1 is December, well, let me back up. December 2nd, okay? December 2nd, that's going to be the reply to Johnny's brief. That's something that's already filed. We're going to be waiting on a response. Now, before that, We're waiting on obviously the creme de la creme of this whole case, Amber's brief. November 23rd, 2022 is her deadline. November 23rd. So either on the 23rd or I think isn't the 24th like Christmas or something? Or Christmas, I meant Thanksgiving. Isn't the 24th like Thanksgiving? It is. So I think we're either having on the 23rd or the 25th, probably the 23rd. I don't think Amber is going to be risking filing it like by overnight mail or anything crazy. I think we're going to get it on the 23rd, honestly. At this point, especially when they've already asked for time and blah blah blah. Well, and yeah, I saw that. I saw that Bo Johan. Boozy hired Axelrod and Ward. Ballard Spar now represents Boozy in their defending lawsuit against Nate the lawyer. So, whew, that's going to be interesting. But real quick, so here are the dates. If you all want dates, you want to write them down, put them in your calendar, or just shove them away. Whatever you want to do with them is up to you. Here are the dates: November 23rd. November 23rd, we're going to have our next set of action in the Depp Heard case. What is it? That's Amber filing her opening brief in her appeal. Okay. Number two, December 2nd is also Amber Heard filing her response to Johnny Depp's brief in Johnny's appeal. Okay? So November 23rd, Amber's case, Amber's brief. December 2nd, Johnny's case, Amber's response to Johnny's brief. Then we're going back here on November 23rd or thereafter, if they get an extension of time, or excuse me, December 23rd, or if they get an extension of time. If they don't get an extension of time or they don't request it, Ben will have his response to Amber's brief in Amber's appeal. And we're just going to stop right there because it gets even more hairy and more complicated and more uncertain. But the first two dates are certain. December 2nd and November 23rd are 100% concrete unless something crazy happens and more extensions of time are requested, which is quite unlikely, but possible. Those are the dates that are basically set in stone as we sit here today on November 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So it's all subject to change, but those two are the most set in stone. Everything else thereafter is all subject to change. And potentially we may not even have any more filings. We may end up having filings in January. So not uncommon. Again, and there are three stages to each appeal that are most likely every single one is going to be checked. Not always, but in this case, something tells me they will be checked. We have the initial brief, right? The initial brief that is filed by each party in their own respective appeal. After that brief is filed, there is a clock timer that starts ticking, and it's usually 30 days, unless there's a request for an extension of time, to file what's called a response. You all, by the time this case is over, every single person in America is going to be like an expert on appeals. This is actually quite fascinating because this stuff is not easy. It's really not. And nobody knows this stuff other than lawyers. But because of this case, it's going to become so popularized. Everybody's going to know like what a brief is, what a response is, what is a reply, what's the request for an extension of time, what does it mean to request leave of court. Everybody's going to know these words, and it's kind of cool. So you got the brief, right? After the brief is filed, you have your response. Okay, that's a legal term. Response to the brief. This is the other party saying everything you wrote, here's why it's wrong, and here's the case law to support our position. Now, this is the appellant and the appellee. Now, the appellant gets a second bite at the apple on appeals. Appellant gets to speak or write twice. Okay, twice. The second time is called the reply. So you have brief, response, reply to the response. Those are all magical legal terms. The reply is the appellant's opportunity to respond, right? This is not the legal term now, but to reply to the response, legal terms, sent by the opposition. And then, and we already know from Johnny's appeal, Ben Chu has requested oral argument. What does that mean? It means they're asking the court that if you want, we can argue this in person, in the flesh, in front of you, not just on paper. Most appeals are done on paper. Most appeals don't get oral argument. Very few cases. Like I said in one of my lives, I think 20% or less, depending on the jurisdiction, actually get oral argument. And that's common. That's normal. Um, so I, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's been mad scientist is like, dude, I know so much stuff about the law. Might as well sit for the bar at this point. Like, why not? I totally get it, man. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. So, yeah, I just want to do this quick stream. A lot of people had questions. They're like, they see my tweets and they're like, what does this mean? I don't understand. Well, hopefully, I was able to clear things up for you right now. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop a comment below. Don't forget to like this video, comment below regardless. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I told you there's going to be lots and lots more of this stuff coming, and it's going to keep coming. So if you don't subscribe, you're going to miss it. So I am trying to hit that $250,000 mark. I've been like on the verge for so long. So I'm really, really itching to finally cross that barrier and say I officially have 250,000. I have 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. I can't wait to be able to say that. You don't even get a plaque or anything. Like the next plaque is not till 1,000,000, which also kind of sucks. But look, I'm not in a hurry. I'm having fun with this. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel to help me out. And I will see you all in the next video. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I love every single one of you. I will see you all later. Bye-bye.